In this talk, I will cover deducting costs associated with locations used for your business. This will include renting or purchasing locations, such as an office, retail store, or warehouse. We will also cover options for taking a deduction for space used in your home for business, called the home office deduction. First, we will cover renting or purchasing business workspaces. If you rent an office or other business location that is used 100% for your self-employed work, then the rental costs are fully deductible. Alternatively, if you purchase real estate used completely for your business, then the building and land, if applicable, are capitalized as separate assets in your business. Then depreciation expense is taken each year, spreading the deduction of the cost of the building over the useful life, which is usually 39 years for commercial property. If you make mortgage payments on the property, none of the principal payment is deductible as an expense, but the mortgage interest is usually deductible on line 16A of Schedule C as interest expense. For more information on these concepts, refer to the previous talks on assets and capitalizing costs, depreciation expense, and interest expense. Next, let's go over the home office deduction. If you use space in your home for business purposes, then you may qualify for an expense deduction. However, there are many qualifying rules for taking and calculating the home office deduction. The home office can be a separate room in your home, but it does not have to be. The IRS simply requires the home office be a separately identifiable space. So the office could be an area in a room, which includes a space with a desk and any other necessary equipment. The home office could also be a separate structure on your property. I recommend documenting the home office for your records, which would include measuring the size of the home office, writing a description of the area, and even taking a picture if possible. To qualify, the home office must be used regularly and exclusively as either a principal place of business or to meet with customers during the normal course of your business. Let's look at what regular and exclusive use mean in more detail. Regular use means the home office is your main place of business, and the business activity done in your home office is not incidental to your business. If you have more than one location of business, consider the importance of the activities you do at each place and the amount of time spent working at each location to determine where your main place of business is. Even if the home office is not used regularly, it may still qualify if you do not have a main place of business because your work is provided at various customer locations. In this case, if the home office is used for administrative or management activities, it will still qualify for the deduction. These types of activities include aspects such as billing customers, keeping books and records, ordering supplies, or setting up appointments. An example could be a plumber who provides services at customers' homes but uses his home office for planning, making appointments, and keeping records. Exclusive use means the home office area can only be used for the business purpose. This means that you cannot use the home office room or other area for any personal use like watching TV or browsing the internet. This is a strict requirement that may disqualify many businesses from taking a home office deduction. There are exceptions to this requirement for businesses that have a home office related to storing inventory or sample products and home daycare use. Beginning in 2014, you can choose between two methods for calculating the amount of your home office deduction. These methods include the simplified method or the actual expense method. The simplified method removes the burden of needing to keep detailed records of all the costs of maintaining your home. To calculate this deduction under the simplified method, you simply take $5 per each square foot of your home office. However, under this method, the deduction is limited to 300 square feet of the home office size in total. The second method, however, is not subject to this limitation. Also, under the simplified method, if you move homes during the year and qualify for a home office at both homes, you can only use a simplified method for one home, and you must use the actual expense method for the second home. If you have more than one business and they each have their own home office, the limitation of 300 square feet still applies in total for both home offices. Alternatively, the actual expense method uses your actual expenses of maintaining your home to calculate the deduction. Two types of expenses qualify for the deduction under the actual method, which include direct and indirect expenses. Direct expenses are related to the home office area only and are fully deductible. For example, if your home office is one room in your home, direct expenses could include painting the room and other maintenance within the room. Indirect expenses are related to the costs of maintaining the entire home and include things like rental costs if you rent your home, or mortgage interest, property taxes, and depreciation if you own your home. Other indirect expenses include costs like utilities, yard care, and general repairs and maintenance on your home. For indirect expenses, you can only take a percentage based on the size of the home office. The most common way to calculate the percentage is to use the square footage of your home office divided by the total square footage of your home. This gives you the percentage of the indirect expenses that are considered related to the home office and can be included for the deduction. Take this percentage times the total indirect expenses to equal the deductible portion of the indirect costs. Lastly, add together total direct costs and the portion of your indirect costs applicable to the home office for the total amount of your home office deduction. When calculating the deduction, if your home office was not used or qualified for the entire year, you can only use the costs related to the period of the year that you had the qualified home office. Under the simplified method, you will prorate the deduction based on the amount of time during the year you had the home office. This deduction can be limited by the amount of gross income from the business. Under the actual expense method, there are additional limiting rules based on the indirect expenses, but any limited expenses can be carried forward and deducted in a future year where there is enough income. However, when using the simplified method, you cannot deduct any of these carried forward expenses from using the actual method that were limited. However, you can continue to carry them forward and deduct them in a year when you qualify.